Hi friends. Now let us take up the concept number 3 in our concept zone. This is understanding functions from real life angle. In fact, functions play a vital role in our programs, regardless of the language. As I told you already, in programs there are two core items. One is data, second one is operations. Suppose these are the data items. This is the operations. Like this, simply having data, there is no use. Once we perform an operation on that, we get the expected result. This is sum, this is difference, this is product. Like this and all that. So if you analyze this fact, you can understand that in our program, the main components are data items and operations. Who will perform operations? Operations are performed by functions. Functions. That means a program performs the main task. We write a program to perform a task, a predefined task. And in order to perform the main task, many subtasks are to be performed. Those subtasks are performed by functions. Simply understand that. In order to enable to have a better understanding this concept, I show you an example. Suppose you are writing a mark report. Regardless of the, don't bother about language. Regardless of the language, you are writing a program to print mark report with the details. Okay, this is the main task of the program, predefined task. In order to perform this main task, several subtasks are to be performed. How can you identify that? Simple common sense is enough. If you have simple common sense, you can analyze that. Now you can analyze that and identify four subtasks in that. The first one is set data. Set data means already explained to you. Whenever we create data, those are stored in the variables. Already in the concept zone, in the training session 1 only explained about that. That's why I don't want to repeat that. So in order to store data, we create variables. Variables should be filled assigned values. For that purpose, we define this is subtask. Setting data means inputting data. Thereafter, all the data, whatever data is required to be input, all that we put like a name, class number, roll number, names of 5 papers and marks in 5 papers. Totally 13 data items we give inputs to the program. Okay, setting data. Thereafter, what we are showing, calculating total marks. Calculating total marks because we are displaying total marks. That's why we have to calculate total marks. Thereafter, what we have to do? Calculate average marks because that also we are displaying here. That's why we have to calculate that. After everything is whatever data we require in the report, all that we have now. All that is in the computer's memory in the form of variables. Then what should we do? We have to demo marks report. Demo means displaying mark report. So in this manner you have to analyze. In order to perform this main task, you have to perform 4 subtasks. Any task you take, bigger task or smaller task, you can divide it like this. These are 4 independent tasks. So then for that purpose we define functions. Just you understand that. A function means it is also like a program. A program performs the main task. A function performs subtask. So you define set data function. It inputs the data from keyboard. That's set data method. As set data function. Thereafter, we calculate total marks. We are giving marks here, and it takes those marks and calculate total marks and returns it. That is calculate total marks. Calculate average marks. What is the input for that? total marks is the input. That takes total marks and calculate average total marks by 5, then it returns average marks. Thereafter, all this data is required for this, for demo marks report. For printing marks report, all 15 data items are required, and after that, not only content in this format, this prints. So, by performing 4 tasks, the main task is performed. This is a basic understanding one should have. As far as functions are concerned, here 2 elements are there. One is, first we have to give the name, correct name we have to give. Thereafter, if you put round brackets, pair of round brackets or parentheses, then it is called a function. First basic knowledge one should have, and thereafter I will explain this from a real life angle. By that you can have a clear understanding and you get you can own this concept. So far I have given a brief explanation about the functions. As far as Java is concerned, it uses methods, not functions. What is the difference between functions and methods? You must understand. Methods are nothing but functions only. But in object-oriented programming languages like Java, those are called as methods. What is the difference you may get? An object-oriented function is called method. An object-oriented function is called method. That means whatever function, suppose total marks is there, via an object it is called, then it is called method. So that's why first we have to learn functions only. Actually there is synonymously you can use also, but in object oriented programming languages functions are called methods. So as far as Java is concerned, you call them as methods only, and inside you understand them object oriented functions. That's why first I am teaching functions. Okay, now functions are not new, those are borrowed from real life only. That is not a new technology at all, borrowed from real life. Actually, in our real life, we take the services of several specialists like a cleaner, painter, carpenter, transporter, driver, doctor, teacher, etc. and all that. We, in order to have comfortable living or in order to have several services in life, we engage several specialists. That I need not explain. That's why we can call the real life as the specialist oriented world. In the same way, programming we call function oriented programming. By using functions only, every program performs its task. That point you understand. In order to enlighten you on this point, I give you a real life example, and this example will be useful for you mainly in writing examinations as well as in interviews. And just you see, now what I told you, specialist oriented world. Suppose this is you. You want to get your house cleaned. Then what you do? You appoint a cleaner. I write that. This is a function notation, cleaner. You appoint a cleaner. So a cleaner comes and goes. You don't give anything to him. He does not return anything. Just he cleans and goes. Next, you want to get your house painted. Then what to do? Which specialist you appoint? One is painter, second one is cleaner. In this context, one point, very important point you have to understand. The painter himself may do the cleaning job, even though you should not treat them as one person. There are two types of specialists. When he is painting, he is a painter. When he is cleaning, he is a cleaner. That point you have to understand. Here one thing, it may be one person or one group of persons, but take them as one only. Okay, this point mainly you have to understand. Third one, you want to get your house shifted. For that purpose, which jobs are required? Packer, lifter, mower. Three types of specialists you require. One set of people or one person for packing, second person for lift the packages from home to vehicle, third one mover, transporter from one house to new house. Okay, this is by collective contribution of the three types of specialists, your house got shifted. Next, you want to get your house constructed, then which specialists you appoint? Architect, engineer, mason, plumber, transporter, electrician, carpenter, interior decorator. Like that, tens of specialists engage. By collective contribution of all these specialists, architect, engineer, mason, transporter, plumber, carpenter, interior decorator, welder, etc., and all that, your house got constructed. That is the idea what you have to develop. Why I am giving this, you understand. So, by collective contribution of all the specialists, your main task of constructing house is completed. Am I right? In the same manner, previous example, marks report. By collective contribution of four functions, which are the four functions? Set data function, calculate total marks function, calculate average mark function, demo mark report function. By collective contribution of four functions, your mark report task is performed. So this is the example. In this manner, this concept is borrowed from real life. So this point you remember while writing functions. Whenever you want to explain about the functions, then this type of examples you give. You can have lot of relevant stuff, not husk. That point you have to understand. As far as methods are concerned, object-oriented functions via object. Little later you understand in the next program onward. Via object we call a function. That's why in Java we have to call functions as methods. Somewhere if you call functions also, nothing wrong. That point you have to understand and proceed.